In today's story, a woman returns from a work trip and discovers that her mother has given her fully paid car to her unemployed brother. Before we begin, settle in and enjoy tonight's story. My mother gave my car to my brother. My mother told me my car belonged to my brother now while I was standing in an airport parking garage with 2 suitcases. I had been away for 12 days on a training assignment. Before leaving, I parked my car at my parents' house because their neighborhood was quieter than mine and my apartment complex had announced resurfacing work. My mother drove me to the airport in her SUV. When I returned, she picked me up in the same vehicle. I assumed we were going back to her house so I could collect my car. Instead, she drove toward my apartment. "You missed the turn," I said. "No, I didn't. My car is at your house." She kept her eyes on the road. "Evan has it." My younger brother had been unemployed for 5 months. He had lost his warehouse job after repeatedly arriving late. My parents described this as a conflict with management. "Why does Evan have my car?" He needed transportation. "For what?" "Interviews, appointments, life. I need transportation too. You work from home most days." "I work from home twice a week." My mother sighed. "Can we not do this immediately after your flight? Turn around. I'm taking you home. I need my car. Evan is using it." The sentence was delivered as though it resolved the issue. I asked whether she had given him my spare key. She admitted she had. I had left the spare in my parents' kitchen drawer years earlier for emergencies. My mother said Evan's car had stopped running and he could not afford repairs. He had missed 2 interviews because my father was unavailable to drive him. "So you loaned him my car without asking me?" "It isn't a loan." I looked at her. "What does that mean?" "It means he needs reliable transportation for the foreseeable future. That is my car. You have a stable income. You can finance another one." The car was a 6-year-old Honda Civic. I had paid it off the previous year. It had 68,000 miles, no major mechanical problems, and insurance that cost less than almost any replacement vehicle. I had spent 4 years making payments. My mother knew that. I asked whether Evan believed the car was now his. She said they had explained that the family was reallocating resources. The phrase sounded like something my father had invented. I told her to call Evan and have him return it immediately. She refused. "He has an interview tomorrow morning. Then he can return it after the interview. He is embarrassed enough already. He took my car. He did not take it. I gave him permission." "You cannot give permission to use property you do not own." My mother became quiet. That was when I realized she knew exactly what she had done. After a 12-day work trip, my mother picked me up from the airport without my car. She said my unemployed brother had it because he needed transportation more than I did. When I demanded it back, she said it was no longer a loan. The family had decided I could afford another car, so mine belonged to him. At my apartment, I refused to get out. My mother parked and turned off the engine. "You are acting like a child. I'm waiting for my car. Evan is not bringing it tonight." "Then take me to him. He is at a friend's house." "Which friend?" She would not tell me. I called Evan. He declined the call. I called again. He texted. Mom explained everything. "Don't make this worse." I replied, "Return my car tonight." He responded with a photograph of the dashboard. The fuel light was on. He wrote, "You could at least have left gas in it." For several seconds, I stared at the message. Then I told my mother that if the car was not returned by 10 that night, I would report it taken without permission. She laughed once. "You would call the police on your own brother." "I would report my car missing." "It is not missing. You know exactly where it is." "I don't. You know Evan has it." "I don't know where he is, and he refuses to return it." My mother said involving police would ruin his future. I said taking my car had been his choice. She accused me of threatening the family. I finally got out and carried my suitcases upstairs. Then I opened the insurance app. The vehicle was still insured in my name. Evan was not listed as a driver. I called the insurer and explained that someone had taken the car without my permission using a spare key. The representative advised me to recover the vehicle quickly and warned that knowingly allowing an undisclosed driver to use it could create coverage problems. I texted Evan that he was not insured to drive the car and needed to park it immediately. He replied, Mom said insurance follows the car. My mother had apparently conducted enough research to reassure him, but not enough to understand the risk she had transferred to me. At 9:30, my father called. He did not ask what happened. He told me I was overreacting. He said Evan had fallen behind in life and needed a temporary advantage. You and I both know he won't return it if this becomes permanent. It is not permanent. Mom told me it wasn't a loan. She was emotional. She sounded very calm. My father proposed a solution. Evan would keep the car for 3 months. My parents would pay my rideshare costs during that period. At the end of 3 months, either Evan would return it or they would help me with a down payment on another vehicle. I asked why they could not help Evan buy a cheap car instead. My father said his credit was poor, then buy one in cash. We do not have that kind of money available. Neither do I. You have savings. My savings were not a communal emergency fund. I repeated the 10 o'clock deadline. My father said, think carefully before you do something that cannot be undone. I said, tell Evan the same thing. At 10:15, I called the non-emergency police number. I did not claim the car had been stolen by a stranger. I explained that my brother had taken it using a key provided by my mother, that I had explicitly revoked permission, and that he refused to disclose its location or return it. The officer said family vehicle disputes could become complicated, but the registered owner had the right to recover the vehicle. He advised sending one final written demand with a specific deadline and then contacting them again. I texted both Evan and my parents. Return the vehicle to my apartment by 8:00 a.m. tomorrow. You do not have permission to drive or possess it. If it is not returned, I will make a formal report and provide your information. Evan called immediately. You're insane. Bring back my car. I have an interview. Take a bus. There is no direct bus. Ask Mom. She has an appointment. Use a rideshare. With what money? I asked whether he had spent the gas money too. He swore at me. Then he said the car was practically worthless compared with what I earned. That was untrue, but the value was irrelevant. He believed my ability to replace something reduced my ownership of it. Where is it? I asked. He refused to answer. Then I heard a woman in the background say, are you coming back inside? Evan was not at a friend's house. He was at his girlfriend's apartment. The interview story might have been true, but he was also using my car socially. I asked whether he had installed the child seat. I could hear rattling. His girlfriend had a 4-year-old son. He told me to mind my business. I said, you have until 8. He hung up. The car appeared in my apartment lot at 7:20 the next morning. Evan parked across 2 spaces. He left the fuel tank empty and the interior full of fast food wrappers. A long scratch ran across the rear passenger door. He tossed the key onto the pavement near my feet. There, hope it was worth it. What happened to the door? It was like that. No, it was. You can't prove that. He walked toward my mother's waiting SUV. I took photographs before touching anything. Then I checked the mileage. More than 900 miles had been added in 12 days. Evan had not simply used it for local interviews. I opened the glove compartment. There were parking receipts from a coastal town almost 3 hours away. One receipt was dated 4 days after I left. Another showed an overnight garage charge. I photographed those too. My mother got out of the SUV. She saw me documenting the car and said, please stop humiliating him. He took it on a trip. He needed a break. You told me he needed it for interviews. He can need more than one thing. The scratch cost $1,400 to repair. The rear tire also had sidewall damage and needed replacement. There was a warning light on the dashboard because Evan had ignored a low tire pressure alert. I sent him the estimates. He replied that ordinary wear was the cost of owning a car. My parents offered $200 if I agreed to let the issue go. I refused. Then my mother demanded the spare key back. I had already removed every document I had stored at their house. I also took the car to the dealership and had the old spare removed from the vehicle's system. That cost another $180. My father said I was wasting money to make a point. I said the point was security. For the next month, my parents told relatives I had nearly had Evan arrested over borrowing a car. The word borrowing did most of the work. It erased the lack of permission, the refusal to return it, the trip, and the damage. My aunt called and said siblings should help each other. I asked whether she wanted to lend Evan her car. She said that was different because she needed hers. I said, so did I. She ended the conversation quickly. Evan got the warehouse job he had interviewed for. My parents acted as though this proved their decision had been necessary. He lost the job 3 weeks later after failing a drug test following a minor workplace accident. They blamed the stress caused by our conflict. When my brother finally returned my car, the gas tank was empty, the door was scratched, and 900 miles had been added. Parking receipts showed he had taken it on an overnight trip with his girlfriend. My mother still told me to stop humiliating him because, according to her, he had needed a break. 2 months later, I received a toll violation. The photograph showed my car passing through an electronic toll lane during the period Evan had it. The notice included a late fee because earlier letters had been mailed to my parents' address, which was still listed on the registration. My mother had opened them. She never told me. When I asked why, she said she assumed Evan had paid. He had not. There were 5 toll charges and 2 parking citations. The total was $460. Evan denied responsibility for 1 parking ticket. He said his girlfriend might have been driving. That introduced another unauthorized driver. I paid the fines to prevent additional penalties. Then I filed a claim against Evan in small claims court for the repair cost, tire replacement, key reprogramming, tolls, parking tickets, and filing fee. The total was just over $2,000. My parents reacted as though I had declared war. My mother came to my apartment without warning. She stood outside the building and called repeatedly until I answered. You are suing your brother? I'm asking him to pay for damage he caused. He has nothing. Then he can arrange payments. This will follow him. So will the bills if I don't pay them. She said I was treating a family disagreement like a commercial dispute. I reminded her that ownership records, insurance, repairs, and traffic citations were already legal and financial matters. She said I cared more about rules than people. I said rules were the only reason the car still legally belonged to me. At the hearing, Evan claimed I had allowed him to use the vehicle. He said my mother had been authorized to give permission because I stored the spare key at her house. The judge asked whether he had any message from me granting permission. He did not. I produced the messages demanding the car's return, the photographs, the mileage, the receipts, and the repair estimates. Evan said the scratch could have happened before he took the car. I showed a dated photograph from the airport drop-off. My mother had taken it. She had photographed me beside the car before we left because she wanted to post about my work trip. The rear door was clearly undamaged. The judge awarded most of the amount. Evan was ordered to pay monthly installments. Outside the courtroom, my mother stared at me as though I were a stranger. You planned that. I documented it. You used my own photograph against him. It showed the truth. You have no loyalty. My father said I had won money and lost a family. I replied that Evan had lost access to my car. The family part had been damaged before the hearing. For 4 months, Evan made the required payments. Then he stopped. I filed the necessary enforcement paperwork. My parents paid the remaining balance on his behalf. They told relatives they had been forced to rescue him from my vindictiveness. I deposited the payment and repaired the final cosmetic damage. A year later, my mother asked to borrow the car. Her SUV was in the shop, and she needed to attend a medical appointment. I offered to drive her. She said she preferred to go alone. I ordered her a rideshare instead. She refused it. You really think I would give it to Evan again? Yes, she sounded wounded. I made one poor decision. You gave away property you knew was mine, concealed where it was, defended the damage, opened violation notices, and submitted a statement for him. That was all part of one situation. It was a series of choices. She left without accepting the ride. My family told everyone I tried to have my brother arrested for borrowing my car. In court, he claimed my mother had authority to give him permission. I produced my written demands, the repair bills, and a photograph my mother had taken before my trip proving the damage was new. The judge ordered him to repay me. My relationship with my parents became limited but functional. We met at restaurants instead of their house. I stopped leaving keys, documents, or belongings with them. I did not depend on them for airport rides. Evan and I did not speak for nearly 2 years. When he eventually contacted me, it was because he had found steady work and wanted to apologize. The apology was not complete. He said he had been in a bad place. He said our parents had convinced him I would eventually accept the arrangement. He said he should have returned the car sooner. I asked whether he believed it had been his to keep. He looked embarrassed. At the time, yes. Why? Because Mom said you didn't really need it. That answer was more honest than anything my parents had said. He did not take the car because he misunderstood ownership. He took it because he accepted the family hierarchy. His need outranked my rights. My stability made my possessions available. His instability made his choices forgivable. I told him I accepted the apology, but trust would take longer. We now speak occasionally. I have never allowed him to drive my car. My mother still describes the event as the time I chose property over family. I describe it differently. Property was simply where the family rule became visible. My mother believed that anything I had successfully earned could be reassigned to the child who had not. The car was not just transportation. It was 4 years of payments, early shifts, delayed vacations, maintenance appointments, and careful budgeting. She looked at the finished result and saw a spare resource. I looked at it and saw the work. That is why I reported it. That is why I documented the damage. That is why I went to court. The family wanted the conflict to remain emotional because emotions could be negotiated, minimized, and redirected. The title could not. The insurance records could not. The judge could not. For once, the facts did not change according to who needed more. My name was on the car. That was enough.
You've been listening to Low Light Stories, original fiction for late-night listening. New stories are added regularly, so subscribe if you'd like to hear the next one. Thanks for listening.